The vote is planned for December 15th at the latest in an effort to compete with the rapid pace of NFL negotiations to get a football team to Los Angeles. Joining me with a look at the election plan and taxpayer cost are my guests, Mesa College political science professor Carl Luna and Tony Manolatos with the Citizens Stadium Advisory Group. And Tony, a vote for this is not actually required. So why do you think the city and the county are so committed to holding a special election?
You're correct. There is no tax increase involved, so it doesn't require a vote. But there is public money involved, and that's why the mayor and Supervisor Roberts, Mayor Kevin Faulconer and Supervisor Ron Roberts are saying there should be a public vote because there's public money involved. And it's not 10, 20 bucks. It's hundreds of millions of dollars.
I see. So that's a lot of money at stake. Now, Carl, city leaders have also said that they have decided that this will be a mail-in only vote. Is that legal?
Yeah, and you want to do an election on the cheap, you do mail-in only ballots. Special elections is becoming more normal to do so. It changes the demographic, who will actually vote. It will be an older, typically more affluent population. The question, will these be people who like to wear Charger jerseys?
I see. And Tony, back to what you were saying about cost, how much is a special election going to cost? I've heard the number $2 million. That's money that could be spent on other city needs. So how is the city justifying this?
I don't know how much this special election would cost. I believe they're talking about a mail-in only campaign, so I know that that's not as expensive. But again, if it's a good deal, San Diegans are going to support it. If it's not a good deal, they're not going to support it. So I think that they will vote at the ballot box on what they think. Do they think this is a good and fair deal, or do they not?
Or a good and fair deal on how to spend city money. Correct.
Correct.
I see. Now, Carl, earlier this year, an official poll by 10 News and the Union Tribune on the likely outcome of a vote to fund a new stadium and would San Diego be willing to spend public money found that 29% of those polled said yes, while 63% said no and 8% were unsure. What do you make of that split?
It means those Go Charger t-shirts have a whole new connotation. Unless you can change those numbers and you have reasons for people to start really wanting to keep the Chargers here with public money, like a winning season, heading toward the big game, it's going to be an uphill struggle. That's why you want the election also for political cover, so that if you can move forward with this, you're trying to avoid lawsuits coming out of the woodwork.
But the Chargers have said they won't comment on this vote or negotiation. So, Carl, let me ask you that. Why do you think that is?
The Chargers are playing for the Chargers right now. They're looking at all their options. They're trying to leverage what they can out of the city. The question is, if they're seen as being too extortionist, will that turn the public off and the public simply say goodbye?
Okay, and Tony, what can you tell us about the status of negotiations?
Well, we know, Peggy, that they met last week. They met again this week. They're going to meet again, it sounds like, in the next few days, probably early next week. That's a good sign. We also know, as Mr. Luna pointed out, that they're trying to get a stadium built in L.A. So that's why we're hearing a lot from the Chargers, oh, we can't get this done in San Diego, because they're trying to get a deal done in L.A. So people have to look through that prism when they're hearing this laundry list of things why they can't get a deal done in San Diego. Well, it's because they're trying to get a deal done in LA.
Simultaneously, and Carl, let me ask you about that. There is this idea going around that perhaps they can't get a vote in time because they need to have these environmental quality act. They need to adhere to that law. They need to have this environmental CEQA, deal done before the vote is viable. Do you think that's true?
Well, I think they could probably get all their ducks in a row and get everything qualified by the 18th of September, 88 days ahead of time, and take it to the voters. Problem is, whatever you do between now and then, somebody could later on challenge in court, like what happened with Petco for a couple of years, and any delay is another reason for the Chargers to leave.
What do you think is different? I'll start with you, Tony. What do you think is different about this time around as opposed to when the Padres wanted to build Petco Park?
I wasn't around back then. I've only been in San Diego for 10 years, but I've followed this Charger Stadium issue for a while, and I can tell you that this time is certainly different. We've been talking about this stadium issue for over a decade. We have a new mayor. Finally we have a plan. I mean, there's never been a plan before. Finally, there's a plan to kick around, to support, to criticize. So I think if both parties work together, they can get this deal across the finish line.
And what about you, Carl? What do you see that's different?
Well, the two big differences is one, you don't have a championship team, which the Padres had going to the voters, which really helped. And second, it's like you're in marriage counseling, but your partner's already starting to date other people. Not particularly a good sign. The Padres weren't actively shopping themselves around quite yet like that.
All right, Carl Luna and Tony Manolatos, thank you so much.
Thanks.
Thank you.